We are in Hyderabad with a very special agenda for the next 2 days. Now, of course, we are here to drive a new car, but unlike a typical media drive where there's a bunch of us car testers from different publications and lots of cars, here it's just one car and one crew, which includes the three of us. So there's Neeraj and Ranjit, and of course, myself. And what a car this is! So it's a Porsche Macan GTS and it is basically a recipe from heaven to make that perfect car for India. It has space and practicality for a small family, enough clearance and visibility to deal with our roads without having to experience heart-wrenching moments every time you go over speed breakers or join a busy road. Best of all, it's a Porsche, which means it will make you smile no matter what mood you're in. Now you might argue you could say the same for any version of the Macan, but let me tell you, this is no ordinary Macan. First of all, it's bright green on the outside, it looks like a car the Hulk would drive, it has green seatbelts for crying out loud, and most notably, it's a GTS, which is a designation reserved for high-end, usually more powerful versions of any Porsche. This particular car that we are driving is even more special because it's basically going all over India as part of the Macan GTS India Relay. Now we are part of this particular leg which starts from Hyderabad and ends in Visakhapatnam. So that's over 600 kilometers of wide open highways, crowded city junctions and some lovely coastal roads. It is exactly the kind of road trip that this car was designed for. So let's put it to use and we will see you guys in Vizag. The GTS version sits at the top of the Macan range and it's all about the engine, the all-wheel drive system and the suspension, all of which come together to make the ordinary Macan a lot more outrageous and akin to what driving a hardcore Porsche feels like. There is no watered-down base engine from the Volkswagen Group in this car. Instead, you get a proper 2.9-litre bi-turbo V6 which makes 440 horsepower and 550 Nm of torque. But before we start cruising and get into the rhythm, let's see how quick the Macan GTS is. So it's got the optional sports chrono package which reduces this car's 0 to 100 time to around 4.3 seconds, but I feel it'll go even quicker. Now you see Porsche, they tend to undermine the performance of their cars, especially their acceleration times. So your 0 to 100, 0 to 200 and so on. So let's see if things are any different with this Macan GTS. Clearly not a lot has changed. Not that I'm complaining, but it is what it is. More than the sheer numbers, it's the raw thrills and the feel that you get from any Porsche which make the driving experience so rewarding. Performance overall is pretty epic, be it any revs, any gear, but that's kind of expected, right? Because it's a GTS. On these wide open highways, it simply flies, and as long as you're okay with low single digit fuel economy figures, then there's absolutely nothing stopping you. I mean, it's so easy to cover distances quickly in this car. But you know what's even more impressive? The fact that it's not just about getting from point A to B, but also appreciating the loud, sweet noise from that V6 engine up front, the snappy gear shifts, and also the absolute feel of solidity that this car gives you at high speeds. The Macan GTS may seem more powerful and expensive than some of us think is necessary, but for those who lean towards the extreme end of everything, then this car is a good fit. Too bad it's a very expensive proposition. So the base price is 1.46 crore ex showroom. And because this is a Porsche, a lot of the good stuff are optional extras, and they are not cheap. This car has the GTS Sport package which will cost you an eye-watering 22 lakh rupees. For that money, you get the Sport Chrono pack which reduces the 0 to 100 time by 2/10 of a second, massive 21-inch wheels with grippier performance tires, and Porsche's stock vectoring for the all-wheel drive system for better cornering stability and grip. That's not all though. You also get the front and rear aprons, mirror housings, and sills which are painted black, as are the side blades with GTS badging in Python green, which is also the official name of the exterior shade. Inside, you have 18-way adjustable sport seats which hold you in place firmly even if you go hard in the corners, making them ideal for track use. Finally, to show off some things to your friends, you get GTS lettering on the headrests, contrasting stitching on the dashboard and the leather seats, a different roof lining which is finished in black, and my favorite bit of them all, these green seat belts which look super cool. Our car also gets a panoramic roof, 360-degree camera views, a high-end Bose audio system, and automatic parking assist. Now all of these optional extras will set you back another 10 lakh rupees. Even the Python green exterior color costs 4,92,000 rupees. The GTS then is an expensive affair, but I also have to say that it feels incredibly special. It feels exciting, and most of all, it feels raw. I mean, you have 550 Newton meters of torque, which comes in from around 2000 RPM and keeps you pinned to the seat all the way till 5600 RPM. It's a very wide torque band and you can feel the push even at highway speeds. It doesn't matter if you're in a high gear, because if you're anywhere around 3000 RPM and you mash the pedal, the Macan GTS reels in the horizon so effortlessly, you're left in awe of what it's capable of when you're going the distance in a relatively short amount of time. Okay, so it's the end of day one, and after driving for 400 kilometers through good and bad roads, through small towns and big cities over varied surfaces, Ranjit, Neeraj, and I are now in Vijayawada. And you know what? We are hardly exhausted, and that's despite spending a majority of today going back and forth across the same set of roads, just because we wanted to get the shots absolutely right. It goes to show how well the Macan GTS works as a grand tourer, and as far as I'm concerned, it is definitely worthy of the GTS badge. We made an early start out of Vijayawada and towards Vishakhapatnam. Progress in the first few hours was great with minimal traffic and some silky smooth roads. Now a lot of people buy SUVs because they predominantly want comfort, and the Macan GTS has a surprising amount of it. Don't be fooled by the 21-inch wheels and the super low profile tires on our test car. The ride quality is not bad at all. Okay, so there isn't a lot of travel on the suspension, and there is definitely no give on these performance tires either. So if you are someone with a bad back, then I'm afraid you will have to hold on tight, because when you go over bad stuff and you feel that initial thump, especially when the suspension compresses or decompresses, that thump will feel more like a jolt, honestly. But at the same time, it is not completely hardcore either. And because you have the added flexibility of the air suspension, the ride is quite forgiving, almost gentle in its softest setting. What's also forgiving is how the Macan GTS moves under you when you're going for it. I mean, there is lots of mechanical grip, the steering feel is spot on, and relatively speaking, there is hardly any body roll. Now, the all-wheel drive system that you get in this car is also quite special, in the sense that it's quite similar to the one you find in the 911, which means it sends most of its power to the back wheels pretty much all the time. And because of this rear-by setup, the Macan doesn't feel cumbersome at all. In fact, this GTS version is very agile and flexible. Now that we are so close to Vishakhapatnam, it's time to reflect over the last 2 days and how special the Macan GTS made us feel throughout. Sure, it's expensive for a small crossover, but then it also feels expensive and out of this world, especially in this bright green color. The amount of attention it gets is also pretty unbelievable. We had people come to us and ask questions everywhere we stopped, and no one seemed to bat an eyelid after knowing the price, which is surprising.
Right, so we are finally in Vizag as the sun is about to go down. It's all nice and pretty, isn't it? As for this bright green car and what do I think of it? Well, to me, the Macan GTS feels like what a jacked up 911 Carrera 4S would be like. Now, why do I say that? It's because to me, it feels more like a all-wheel drive sports car rather than a crossover. And in that sense, it's almost disrespecting its breed. And you know what? It's also what makes it so hugely entertaining.
It is still far from the most exciting Porsche that you can buy, but if you think rationally, keeping our road conditions, weather conditions, traffic sense in mind, and suddenly the Macan GTS will make all the sense in the world.